Okay, here we go. Oh, there's a terrible light behind my head. I'm not going to change that, though, so you got to deal with it. Complain about it in the comments. Isn't that what you're doing on YouTube? Okay, I'm Justin. We're back going through my CDs, and we're starting with the B's, finally. So first, in the background, we are listening to Hotter Than Hell by Kiss. Maybe we might get into talking about Kiss. I don't have any Kiss CDs. I have a bunch of Kiss tapes. It's taken me until being almost fucking 40 to really appreciate Kiss. I've always kind of liked Kiss like anybody else does, but I've always thought they're the most overrated band in the history of the world. But the early stuff, man, it just fucking rocks. You know, it's just fucking good. It's just sleazy. You know, just so many songs about fucking teenage girls and anal sex. It's thinly veiled, but I mean, anyway. So here we go. Oh, I'm so sorry about that light, but I've already started. We're in this now. Baal, or Ball, Bleeding for Him. This is an EP. I bought this, 2004, 2005, somewhere in there. This is really violent French black metal. This CD is mastered so fucking loud. You have to immediately turn it down when it comes on. It's so much louder than everything else. But it's just one of those that just stabs you in the guts from beginning to end. Next we have, I've been looking forward to this one, Blot Nizer. Occlused in Ottusity. I don't know what that means. It sounds pathological, and I had a lot of pathology classes in college. My degree is kind of in that field, but I don't know what the fuck that means. But this is a death grind band from Italy, and it's got your standard, program drums and gurgly vocals and short songs. But the booklet is all a comic strip about the band and the devil, and I'm sure there's some dicks in there somewhere. But this shit is so fucking good. If you like really heavy-handed death grind, lots of fucking sharp riffs and heavy vocals and loud drum programming, this is it. I don't know much about them, though. I got this to review, actually, for a webzine many years ago. This came out on Dark Rain Recordings. They've done a couple other things we're going to talk about. They were out of California, but Blot Nizer. Check that out if you can get your hands on it, if you like that kind of stuff. Okay, The Banner. The Banner is a hardcore band from New Jersey, and they play kind of this dark, horror-sounding hardcore music. This is their full-length Each Breath Haunted. It's the only one I have. I need to get some more of their stuff. They put out a record a couple years ago that got a lot of press. It's kind of on Ferret Music, which is not around anymore. Ferret they were a hardcore label, but then most famously they signed In Flames when In Flames decided they wanted to be a shitty metalcore band. But this is a really nasty record, and it's got there's one song on here. I don't know which one it is. It might be the fifth one, Sovereign of the Black Pit. There's a riff break, and the guitar, it's just guitar for a second, and the guitar tone is just fucking nasty. It's awesome. Okay, Baptism. This is Baptism, Grim Arts of Melancholy. This is a Finnish black metal band, and it sounds, all you can see is a reflection of my mixer. That's what I have my phone propped on. But it sounds the way it looks, man. It's grim black metal from Finland, so I mean, there are few things that are better than grim black metal from Finland. Okay, we have Bastard Grave with What Lies Beyond. I did the layout and design for the CD. This is on Pulverized Records out of Singapore. I do a lot of their design, and this is just HM2 Entombed Worship. Kind of dirty death and roll stuff. It's good. It's really good. This is Barren Harvest with Subtle Cruelties. This band, I didn't know anything about them when I bought it, but I'm kind of a vinyl nerd as well, and I like weird vinyl stuff. And when they pressed this record on vinyl, they did a special edition where it was a clear record with fucking leaves pressed into it. And I said, I gotta have one of those. And when I bought it, they threw in the CD. This is kind of melancholy. It's not metal at all. It is on, what was this label name? I can't remember. I'm friends with a guy who runs this label on Facebook or Instagram. But this is members of the band Worm Ouroboros, and the drummer of Worm Ouroboros he was the drummer for Agala, A$AP Decker. But this is kind of melancholy acoustic material, male and female, and it's good, you know, late night, chill out music. I like the design of this a lot. The designer who did this is Kevin Van Went. I said that wrong. I can't read it. His name is Kevin, and his website is viraloptics.com, and I've been following him for a long time. I really like his design. And he's in the band Sutek Hexen, so if you ever check them out, if you know them. Barren Harvest. Bauhaus, In the Flat Field. Bought this at Vinyl Fever, which you will hear me talk about in probably every video. They were a CD store in Tallahassee, or a music store in Tallahassee. There was also one in Tampa. For those of you who don't know, those cities are in Florida. This is just goth rock, and kind of deathy, you know. It's just, I don't care what kind of music it is, but if it's kind of dark and deathy and aggressive, I'm drawn to it. And check out Bauhaus. This is a classic. Okay, so this is another record that's on This Dark Rain recording. This is Beaten Back to Pure with The Burning South. This was their last album. Beaten Back to Pure was a southern metal band from North Carolina. These dudes are fucking great. You know, you take Leonard Skinner and you add death metal and you get this. And the singer of this band, a guy named Ben Hogg, Ben went on to do another band we'll get to shortly called Birds of Prey. And he was briefly in Hour of 13. And he was in the post Hour of 13 band called Night Magic. And he's also a good buddy of mine. And I did not know him when he was in this band. We've met after. But this shit is great. It boogies down. And if you're scared of the artwork, good. I don't want to hear about it. This is Beheaded with Recounts of Disembodiment. This is a death metal band, a brutal death metal band. I haven't opened this. I got it in that famous trade. This band in particular got in a big kind of back and forth legal battle with that label that has gone unsaid over an album. So, Google it. Next, we have Behemoth with The Satanist. And I am really sorry for you can't see these in this bad reflection. I was doing these sitting on the floor for my first few videos, and I think I'm going to go back to sitting on the floor. This is Behemoth's full length from 2015, The Satanist. It's the only thing about Behemoth I own. I never got into black metal Behemoth. They're a band that I always looked over. And then I didn't like their death metal stuff, especially when they got big and were playing the Warped Tour and shit. But then this came out. And I watched a video or listened to a song, and I got real intrigued. And I ended up buying it, and I really, really, really like this record. It's a heavy, kind of somber, morose death metal record. It's got a killer creative direction. Whoever the designer on this was did a fucking phenomenal job. This is a digipack with a book stapled into it. It's double disc. There's a DVD in here. I don't know. There's probably a dozen versions of this album. But I really, really like it. It's a good, ethereal, esoteric death metal record. I saw them live on this tour, however, and they were fucking terrible. I couldn't tell what song they were playing from the next. I saw them at the old Masquerade here in Atlanta. If you're familiar with Atlanta, or you've ever been here, or whatever, the Masquerade was a club that was in the heart of the city that opened in the late 80s, and it was an old textile mill. It's this ancient 100-year-old building, and it had different rooms, but it just had terrible sound, and bands like this just got lost in the room. But Behemoth just sounded fucking awful that night, and I couldn't tell what even these brand new songs, like, I couldn't tell what they were. I couldn't make anything out. It was terrible. So now we have Beherit. I have 3 Beherit CDs. I have a lot more Beherit stuff on vinyl. This is Werewolf, Semen, and Blood. I can't remember. I think this is a bootleg. Yeah, this is obviously a bootleg. There's nothing on the back of it. It's just the same picture. And then I have the famous bootleg, the split with Impaled Nazarene, Day of Darkness Festival, which is 2 live sets. And then I have the At the Devil's Studio, which is some early recordings from Beherit. I really like Beherit. They're kind of that proto sound of, you know, war metal or really grim. Beherit's not a war metal band. Don't read into that. They're a really dark black metal band like Demoncy or Blasphemy, from Finland. And these guys influence more than you know. But I really like Beherit, as should you. Okay, let's see here. The Being. I have this on vinyl as well. I got them both in a trade. This is on New Era Productions. And I did a big trade with them just so I could get a Charlie Manson record they put out. But I've never listened to this. I think it's kind of like, I think they're a black metal band, but I'm not sure. I could be completely wrong. So, at the back, the artwork is a big caduceus, which is the medical thing of the snake and wings, but the center is a big penis. Bellwitch. Bellwitch is a doom metal band from the Pacific Northwest. This is their first album, Longing, on Profound War Records. I saw them live with the band Loss one night in Chattanooga, Tennessee. And they're 2-piece, drums and bass, and the bass guitarist plays a 6-string bass, and he's got a bunch of pedals and several amps, and he plays lead and rhythm all at the same time on his bass guitar, and it's really impressive, and they're really, really fucking heavy. They're really heavy live. But it did not translate to this CD for me. I just don't like it at all, and I listened to it on the way home that night, and I've never listened to it again. But I haven't heard the 2 full lengths since then, so I could be completely wrong about them. There are clean vocals, and the clean vocals I could not hear live, but they're real prominent on this, and I did not like them. But the guttural vocals on live, a guy named Adrian, who unfortunately passed away a couple years ago, he was a fucking sick vocalist. But Bellwitch, I know a lot of people like this band, and I haven't warmed up to them yet. I'm going to go through these next ones as quick as I can here. I want to get all these done. Benum, they're a grind band. This came out on Relapse in the late 90s by Means of Upheaval. No, this came out in 2003. I think this was their last record. But they're a grind band. If you like grind, you'll like them. This is a split between Spiritum Iratus and Bestial Incarnation. And it's called Monuments of Decimation. I like this band's side of this. It's black metal. And it has a Zygmunt Baskinski painting on it, as does so many other records. But I like this. Came out on Baneful Genesis Records, and I don't know if they're around anymore. Bestial Mockery. I have 2 Bestial Mockery CDs. The Unholy Trinity and Christ Crushing Hammer Chainsaw. There's a title for you. Bestial Mockery is a thrashy black metal band from Sweden, and they're pretty sick. I think they just got back together. They had broken up, now they're back together, I think. But they're fun. They kind of remind me a little of Nunslaughter, I think. Bestial Molestor, limited edition promo demo, 133 copies. The Malefic Vomit of Satan. This probably sounds the way... This came out on Desecration of God Productions. Okay, so There's a guy named Jim Stanek. Jim lives in Las Vegas, but he is from the East Coast, and he is from that scene around when Profanatica started and Incantation started, and all those New Jersey and New York death and black metal bands from the early 90s. And Jim has this label called Desecration of God Productions, and I used to trade with him, and I'd buy some stuff, and he's put out some really, really cool stuff. It's always super limited, and he throws in some extra stuff, and it's real fucking caveman thrown together, you know, cut and paste. I don't know anything about this band. I don't know where they're from, but I'll have to throw this on again. I'm sure it is just nasty, grim, fucking chaotic black metal. Okay, we have Bestial Raids is a black metal band. This came out on Nuclear War Now. The art on this is really dark. It has a dark, dark green background, but you can't really see the black on it. But it's got some sick artwork, and they have a really sick logo, and they play kind of, you know, heavy-handed, chaotic black metal, kind of like Canadian bands do, but lots of skulls and gas masks and that kind of shit. Bestialize. There's another sealed CD from the famous trade. This is on Old Cemetery Records. These guys have corpse paint on, but it looks like a death metal CD, so there's no telling what this sounds like. Annihilating the Judeo-Christian Generations. Okay. Alright. Now, here we go. Let's find the good one to show to you. One of the most awesome bands of all time, Bethlehem. Bethlehem is they coined themselves dark metal, which they also named an album after, dark metal. This record, Dicteus Te Nacare, is somewhere between black metal and doom metal, and it has the sickest vocals you will ever hear in your life. Only on this release, though. That vocalist was only on this release, to the best of my memory. But Bethlehem was just a game unto themselves. There are a few bands that there are no bands that ever sounded like Bethlehem. But just pained, depressive, grim atmosphere. But they did. So I have Dicteus Te Nacare. This is an early pressing of it on Redstream Records. And then I have this re-release digipack version with different art and everything. It's got a booklet. And then I have an old copy of Dark Metal, which was another record. And Dark Metal's not as wild as Dicteus Te Nacare. And then I have a digipack version of it as well. And I bought the two of these because they were reissued, they're remixed, they have some bonus tracks. But whoever remastered these doesn't need to be remastering albums. They boosted them and pushed them so much into the red that there's a line of static over everything. And it just sounds fucking abysmal. It's just awful. So I've listened to these once, and I just listened to the originals instead. And then last, this is Suicide. It has a longer title that I'm not going to try to pronounce. It's all in German. And this is another one of their full lengths. And I haven't listened to this one as much. My go-to 99% of the time is Dicteus Te Nacare. So there we have it. We are into the B's. That is video number 5, I believe. Next time I'm not going to sit in front of this light like that. I apologize. So you can just listen to my terrible, dry sense of humor and not have to actually watch me if you watch this video. But I'll sit on the floor for the next one. I'm going to keep doing these as much as I can until we get through. Let's keep talking about metal and talking about music. And I'll talk to you guys soon.